This is Baby Blue Mind. I walk around the earth and talk about what's on my mind. And today I'm going to share with you a test that I invented called the change of subject test for hater identification. The change of subject test for hater identification. And this is just something you can kind of monitor in your life with people, be they people sort of in your inner circle, or just maybe some people on your periphery, or just kind of people that you talk to. And it's just sort of designed to identify where people stand with respect to you exhibiting any kind of growth when it comes to your personal evolution. And so there's two sort of ways to do it. You can do, and actually I haven't done this for myself. Actually, I have noticed this, and that's what sort of brought about the impetus to create this sort of test. But I've never like actively tested on this one. I just sort of created it for other people, so hopefully it could be beneficial for you. But so the first thing that you should look for when it comes to the change of subject test is, let's say you're speaking to someone in your inner circle or someone in your periphery, and what you want to do is bring up your most recent success or achievement. And then the fundamental crux of the test is you're going to zone out everything about the entire conversation, completely wall your mind off to absolutely everything taking place in the conversation, and you monitor one thing, okay? The one thing you monitor after you share your most recent success or achievement, which you'll likely be doing if you're speaking to someone who's in your inner circle or periphery. But the one thing that you monitor for after you share your most recent success or achievement, one thing, wall your mind off from everything else. How long does it take the other person to change the subject? That's the change of subject test, okay? Now, why is this such a valuable test or something to observe when it comes to maybe the potential hidden haters in your life, okay? So, if you have a hidden hater or just someone else who's not in favor of your own personal evolution, if you come to them and say, let's just take an example of getting like promoted at work or something like that. So if you come to a person and you say, hey, guess what? I have this great news. I just got promoted at work. I'm going to get, a raise and all this kind of stuff. It's like all that hard work finally paid off that I was doing. And a true friend or someone who's in favor of your personal evolution will be like, hell yeah, let's go. That's so dope. All that hard work you have been doing finally paid off. That's so cool. Like, what's next? What's next? You're going to get another one? Man, you're trending upward. Like, man, this could get crazy. You never know. What, are you going to be the boss soon? You're going to start your own company? Man, you're killing it. That's what a true friend or someone in favor of your personal evolution will respond with. Okay? The hidden hater or someone who's not in favor of your personal evolution can respond to the change of subject test in the hidden hater or person not in favor of your personal evolution can respond to the change of subject test in myriad ways. How does that operate? First, you could get a quick change of subject and a pivot directly into something that satisfies their own ego. Oh yeah, I got a promotion last year. Yeah, sort of the one-upsmanship. That's very common. That's very common, is to see the one-upsmanship or the quick change of subject into something that's completely about them. They completely dismiss your sort of momentous achievement or sort of a life milestone that you're very proud of. And you wanted to sort of share this pride with someone you think is sort of on your team or in your periphery. And if they just completely dismiss that and speak about themselves, just think about what that's saying to you. They're practically not even listening to you, okay? And damn, look at how dope that sunrise is. Let's go. Let's go. I start, just for anyone who hasn't seen my other videos, I start pretty much every day with a walk from where I live to the beach and back so I can catch the sunrise under the sort of personal credo of Carpe Diem, which means seize the day in Latin. Carpe Diem, seize the day in Latin. I like to seize the day, son. Get my ass up out here. Get moving. Check the sunrise. Think about some shit. Get this mind going, get this body going. One man's approach. So now let's discuss the psychology of why someone would change the subject very quickly, okay? Now, if you bring a success or achievement, good morning, brother. If you bring a success or achievement to someone who's a hidden hater or someone who's not in favor of your personal evolution, as soon as you transmit that information to them, it's going to create a deep negative sentiment in their psychology, okay? Because internally you just threw something at them that they didn't see coming at all. And especially if they're not in favor of your personal evolution, when they catch that information that you're transmitting, man, that creates sort of a visceral response in them. It could be occurring deeply in their like nervous system. I'm no expert in the dynamics of that, but it definitely creates something in their psychology. And what it creates in their psychology, if you're exhibiting signs of personal growth, or in some fashion you might have like one-upped them when they, good morning, man. You might have sort of one-upped them when they sort of view you as the inferior person in life or something like that. Man, that's gonna create a deep negative sentiment in their psychology. And that's happened to me at like many points in my life, because hidden haters or people who aren't in favor of your personal evolution, or are just sort of like, I don't know, any sort of kind of negative personality characteristics where they're like, you know, they might be manipulative. They might be just sort of infused with sort of like a general negativity or a general negative attitude on life. Man, get those people out immediately. I don't play that shit. I don't want that negative energy anywhere near my inner matrix. And I'm not saying that as like a woo-woo spiritual energy or anything like that. It's a legitimate phenomenon, man. If someone's spewing negativity or spewing toxicity, good morning, man. If someone's spewing negativity or spewing toxicity or just talking shit about everyone, man, danger. Because that sort of toxicity can leak into your psychology just from being in close proximity to it. You want to avoid that particular thing at all costs, man, because it's gonna stifle your growth if you have that sort of residual negativity sort of stuck in your brain just from being in close proximity to people who are generally negative by nature. That shit ain't good, man. And I've been exposed to that many a time in my life where I've just sort of been around like negative people in my inner circle or periphery. And I found myself like getting more negative, having a more negative outlook, just sort of having a worse attitude towards life or people in general than I otherwise would. Because especially when it comes to the people in your inner circle, man, if their negativity is consistently rubbing off on you, it's going in there. It's getting in there somehow, be it subconsciously, be it consciously. Just that sort of, I'm not trying to get like too woo-woo, but their negative like force field, you know how some people, man, they're just negative sons of bitches. Like everything is wrong all the time. Everything's a complaint. Man, can you believe what's going on with this? Can you believe what's going on in the world? I just don't understand how, man, those people, toxicity in human flesh, son. Get that out, straight up. Because if you're trying to exhibit like significant personal evolution or significant personal growth, that stuff being infused into your mind just by being in close psychological proximity to the source of the negativity, man, it's stifling your growth. It's stifling your growth. And the thing that's difficult about it, and what I had to do in more than one instance throughout the course of my life, is these people were in my inner circle, okay? People I either grew up with or just people who had become like very close to me. And it's such a tricky decision to cut people out of your life who are very close to you, but they're stifling your personal evolution so badly, man. Because the people in your inner circle, they have your ear way more so than someone who's in your periphery or just strangers or anything of that nature. And you may, just by being in close proximity to a person who is infused with a sort of generally negative attitude or outlook on life, you may be so conditioned to the negative nature of this individual that you don't even see it anymore. You don't even recognize that all that negativity is just being inflicted upon your psychology repeatedly, just because you become used to the status quo, the present state of affairs. And so it's a tricky decision. It's a tricky decision to make, especially to cut someone out that is in your inner circle, essentially. But man, at least in my experience, sometimes if you want to fly, man, you got to cut the cords. And the cords are the people sometimes that are right next to you. And I've noticed from a lot of the comments on my videos, I've never had this particular problem with family, because my family is very supportive of me. I don't have any hidden haters in my family, thank goodness. But I know for a lot of people, and some people who might be watching this might be family members, man. It might be blood. And I can't really advise on how to handle that situation, just because I only sort of talk about my own direct personal experience on these videos, and because I haven't been in it, I can't like say you need to cut out family when it comes to this. But just sort of the general principle, man, I don't know, I would at the very least consider that, because man, here's just sort of the general end game, man. In one man's humble opinion, man, one of the main things in life is to exhibit personal evolution. You are one person, and then throughout the course of your life, you become another person, good morning, man. That's sort of we all know in the aggregate the theory of evolution, but it operates on an individual level as well. You undergo a personal evolution throughout the course of your life. If you, let's say you might be into like watching, you watch movies or shows or you read books or anything like that, man, research the hero's story. It's sort of like the fundamental story that underpins every book, every TV show, every movie. The hero has to undergo a series of trials and tribulations to ultimately evolve into the hero. And the hero has oftentimes a fatal flaw. Okay, that's sort of beside the point of what we're talking about, but that's sort of the nature of a hero when it comes to books, TV, movies, any sort of storytelling. Man, if you're trying to do your personal evolution of the hero story in life, man, if you have the hidden haters or the people who aren't in favor of your personal evolution, just giving you that sort of residual negative energy, that's roadblocks in your hero story. And sometimes they might be boulders, sometimes they might be mountains, okay? You might not even be aware of this, but son, don't you want to eliminate the roadblocks in your hero story? Obviously, you're going to have to overcome adversity. That's sort of the nature of life. But why play your hero story with additional psychological headwinds? It doesn't make sense, man. And so, eliminating those psychological headwinds, which manifest in the form of, general negativity from the people who might be closest to you or the people in your periphery, will free you up, free your mind from those psychological headwinds on your hero's journey. So just something to contemplate. I know we got a little bit off. We sort of spread from the change of subject test into sort of more of a general discussion on how hidden haters or people who aren't in favor of your personal evolution can stifle your growth. But remember, I'm freestyling this shit, so like it goes all over the place. If you've seen my other videos, like I do this, so check out my other videos. That just like, it's me walking around and ranting about, stuff like this, stuff like philosophy, narcissism, how to protect your mind from like toxic people, different sorts of if you happen to be depressed or have like mental health issues or stuff like that, I treat that too. So there's just like a whole bunch of shit that I talk about basically, if you want to check out my other videos. And then one of the other things, the reason that I started this channel, because never, ever in a million years did I ever think I would make videos on the internet for strangers to consume or do like any kind of social media or anything like that. Before I started, I was completely dark on social media and just like sort of had anti-social media kind of like sentiment. But what happened is so I never thought ever in a million years I would do this. It's not like I was like, oh, I don't want to do that. It's like I didn't even cross my mind. So it's hilarious to me that I do this now like all the time. But what happened to me and this is sort of like the fundamental basis for my channel is to help people and why that's the case. So in 2023, I almost died in a car accident in Miami. I was in the passenger seat, got like smashed into, suffered permanent spinal damage and traumatic brain injury. And after that, I went into like a hyper isolation and hyper depression state where like it was bad. It was really bad, man. And I was just I was going through it to the point where like I thought I was never gonna come out, man. Like I thought it was all over. I was just like destined for a life of permanent pain and suffering and everything like that. But I never lost hope, man. I truly never lost hope. And eventually over time, I like clawed my way out of like hell squared, essentially. And so what I try to do as sort of like a fundamental theme on my channel is help other people who might be in that sort of like hellish state kind of get up out of it. And so if you want to check my other videos for that whole story, I tell it in depth in videos called like How I Almost Died or Almost Died. And so thank you very much for listening to this. I hope you watch some of my other videos, because I really enjoy doing this, and I really enjoy helping people when it comes to like different sorts of maybe social dynamic things, like identifying hidden haters, and then also just like sort of sharing my worldview that might be interesting for you to, you know, consume if that's something you might be interested in. And then also, you know, anybody who's watching me who's like super isolated and depressed, man, I feel you. And so what I say in a lot of my videos is, if you are one of those people who watches me because you're like way down right now, man, consider me a friend, man. Consider me a digital friend. Even if we never meet or anything like that, I'll be a digital friend. And then like just put my shit on and just know that you're walking and talking with a friend. That's how I kind of view it. Because like, think about it this way, I'll say this as my last point. If you have been watching me for like over 20 minutes right now, like we're basically friends already. Think about it. Like if you had in regular life outside of the internet, if you had a 20-minute consecutive conversation with someone, you'd be friends with that person. Like that wouldn't even be in question. And I know that we're not having a dialogue or anything like that, but think about it this way. When I'm speaking to you and you're kind of consuming my information, and that's creating some sort of like psychic response in you, creating thoughts in you where maybe you agree with me, you disagree with me, or, you know, it's essentially a psychic dialogue that we're having right now when you really think about it. And so I would just ask you to consider me, you know, as a friend. If you want, it's not a demand or nothing like that. Some of you are like, man, I would never be this guy's friend. But if you want to, that would be cool. I consider you a friend, and I humbly bow to you for the opportunity. And then if you've ever seen my other videos, I always say this when it comes to friendship, because it's critical, and it might be the main point when it comes to friendship. So right now we're digital friends that, you know, we're like base level friends. But if you want to be, if you want to, this isn't, you know, this is sort of like the add-on package to my friendship. If you want to be like best friends or dogs or homies or boys or anything like that, I offer a special package for that. And if you want to be dogs, homies, besties, or anything of that nature, it's going to cost you $5 United States cash. Okay? $5 United States cash, one bill. I don't want to be walking around with like all sorts of, you know, singles in my pocket. And I don't take any form of electronic payment. The only way you can pay me is if you see me walking around the street. Because like I walk around the world, like you'll see me sooner or later. And if you walk by me on the street and you want to be besties, dogs, homies, or anything like that, you give me $5 cash, one bill. I'll put it in my pocket, we'll fist bump, and then walk our own separate ways in silence, because the best friendships are cultivated in silence, as we all know. And now we're besties, dogs, and homies and all that kind of stuff. So that's the add-on package if you want it. It's not like a demand or anything like that, but, you know, just think about it this way. You're $5 away from a new best friend, and I think that's kind of a deal. So this is Baby Blue Mind. Baby Blue Mind. In case you can't tell, I talk about a whole bunch of different shit, so check out my other videos. And I wish you all the best in your hater identification efforts and your personal and professional endeavors. Deuces.